Hey, hello again, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to another edition of Talk Football Live. Uh, yeah, you're surprised today that you're seeing just two Arsenal fans. Yes, we're still dealing with the pains and the disappointment, but like some people will say that the season is not over yet. Some of us might have called it, but we'll see. To the very strong Arsenal fans that are still keeping the hope alive, we wish you the very best. We're still with you. We're still fans, regardless of what has happened, what's going to happen. The season is still very young, so we'll see. But welcome back to the show again. You here with myself, Biodun and Hayo, and we'll see how it goes. I know
Yeah.
some of the games are on, but I and I are going to discuss the remaining games for this weekend, and we're going to take a quick reflection on the game that happened this morning, the Crystal Palace game versus West Ham, and the ongoing game, Brighton game as well as the Brentford game. Then we're going to look into the fixtures for the rest of the weekend and into the next week, where we're going to discuss the Arsenal Chelsea game and also look into the City game, the Man U Villa game, and the what's it called, the Liverpool Fulham game. So here we go. How you feeling? How are things? With you
Yeah, so
getting over this disappointment.
I'm still dealing with it. To be honest, I think I'm the optimist, so I think it actually really hit me after the City game. I was still keeping some hope alive that
Oh, please.
there's a chance it wasn't mathematically over. We were still in control, and it came down to we just had to win that game, which, as we all know, we didn't. Um, I've been trying to find ways to console myself, saying, okay, maybe this season is not over. City too were hoping Arsenal would drop points. So maybe now it's our turn to hope that, City drop points. Maybe Fulham can do a shocker this weekend. Hopefully, maybe still trying to keep the dream alive. But at this point, if I were a betting man, like I said, I would not be betting on Arsenal winning the title. I think City is in control. City knows how to close these things out. And,
Yeah.
we'll see
I
how
mean,
it goes.
the start of history, everything looks good for City, and yeah,
Yeah.
good. You're keeping the hope alive. I mean, your heart is strong, bro. That's all I can say.
Well, Roy Hodgson is back, and they had a little bit of a chat with him and David Moyes at the beginning, talking about how things are changing with younger managers. Seeing fullbacks playing in midfield. I caught a little bit of that, and wow, what a game! So many goals. Crystal Palace have still continued their resurgent form. Zaha was back for them today, so that's good.
Yeah,
I think he played about 84 minutes,
yeah,
and they won that game. Crystal Palace, to be honest, they controlled that game for the most part,
yeah,
and West Ham somehow just kept finding ways. I think they scored a couple of goals from corners. They just kept finding a way to stay in it. But at the
yeah,
end of the day, I think Crystal Palace was too strong for them, especially with Zaha back. Just a lot of nice attacking
yeah,
talent starting to come together, and then they have Chik Tukore in midfield who is holding things together for them. So
yeah.
mathematically, I think Crystal Palace is now safe. So Crystal Palace
Yeah,
is
I
moving
was just
to
gonna, I was just gonna ask you about that because if you look at, so for example, if you do it this way, right? Look at Nottingham Forest, that's currently leading. That's if they win this game, right? If they win this
yeah.
game, they're gonna stay at 33 points, right? With
Mm-hmm.
4 games to
Mm-hmm.
go. With 4 games to go, let's say they win all the 4 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
That gives them um 16 points. 16 plus 33, that takes them to 49.
Yep.
That could still be a challenge for Crystal Palace, right? But ideally, we would say that Crystal Palace is safe. So I don't think anybody's going to call it yet. The top four and the bottom four race
Mm-hmm.
is something that nobody can call. I mean, you can call the first and second. I think we can confidently call that. But that bottom four, nobody knows. And nobody knows the three teams that would end up relegating. So I think it's a little bit tough. But Crystal Palace result today, I think that put them in a very, very, very convenient situation and they can relax. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I actually did some analysis, looking at the games that were left for those bottom teams. And at this point, I think I can confidently say that Southampton and Everton will not survive. I didn't even bother looking at what games they have. Just with the form they're showing, with the way they've both been playing, I think it will be a little bit too much for them. Um, I'm confident Forest will survive the way Forest have been playing
Hmm.
recently. I think Forest will survive. They've recovered a lot of their injured players, which I think had been the problem. They had that good run of form, I think, around November to January, where they moved up the table to about 13th, and then they lost a lot of players to injury. And so they've struggled the last couple of months, but they've gotten a lot of those players back now, and they've started their slight progression up. As you can see from the table, they're 4 points clear of that spot, assuming this result holds.
Yeah.
But I think Forest have enough in them to make it.
Yeah. That's funny again, and I think we've talked about this before.
Mhm.
Everton, that's gonna be the shocker, man. I
Yeah.
mean, Everton's gonna go to relegation. Wow.
Yep.
I just can't imagine it.
I
I mean,
remember
we
just a
all
couple
thought
of.
that Sean Dyche
Mhm.
coming in will fix things. I mean, what happened? What happened to Sean Dyche's revival strategy?
I think they just don't have the quality in defense specifically. And I personally have said for a long time that Jordan Pickford is overrated. Right, that's my opinion. But in defense, they just don't have the quality to hold things together the way a Sean Dyche team would typically do. Michael Keane and what's the other guy's name have done good for him recently, but just all together as a unit and the midfield, they just struggle to keep goals out at the
Hmm.
moment, and it's yeah, it's not coming together
Wow.
for Sean Dyche.
It's gonna be it's gonna be sad. I think they have some quality players that the top teams will probably take away. I mean,
And I
wow.
also don't know if Leicester too. Same thing, their defense. I also don't know if Leicester will make it out
I mean, these
of
are
that
these are two
bottom
things,
three
man, that
that
it's
are
gonna be shocking.
mainstay Premier League teams. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Well, again, I won't call it here. I think I agree with you on Southampton and Everton. I think Leicester, Leeds, Nottingham, West Ham. Yeah. I mean,
yeah. I think I trust David Moyes enough to see it through. And same thing, like
wouldn't this be a shocker if
what's that?
no, I was saying, would it not be a shocker if Bournemouth survived?
I mean, look at where they are.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Same way, it's about finding form at the right time. They found form at the right time. They got Dominic
Because I
Solanke
mean,
back, and
many
then
weeks
Phil
ago,
Billing.
I called it for Bournemouth. I kind of picked them as
Mm,
one of the things that was going to relegate.
oh, really good. Yeah, I think I had them in there as well. I
Wow.
think I had them in there as well. But they're almost safe as it is now. Because if you consider that they're 7 points clear,
Yeah. I think we should do a poll to our viewers, to our subscribers, maybe at the end of the show today. Let's
yeah,
do a poll just to see, hey, what do you think the bottom three should
three
would
would be.
be, and maybe we'll give a prize. We've never tried a prize. Maybe we'll give a prize to whoever picked the
That's
right?
true. Yeah,
Yeah, well, something to do, right? Okay, cool.
yeah,
All right, let's go back to the remaining fixtures if you don't mind.
yeah.
I know it's the double header this week.
All right, there we go.
All right, great, awesome. So we're probably going to come back when the last two games are kick off for the second half.
Hmm.
But yeah, Bournemouth Leeds. What's your prediction? I just talked about Bournemouth escaping relegation. Leeds is fighting relegation. That's going to be a good battle, a very strong battle between Bournemouth and Leeds. What do you think? What do you think the outcome of this will look like?
I think again, Bournemouth are in good form. Leeds have a lot of their players back as well. I think this might be a draw. I think Leeds are going to battle their lives out to try and get something out of this game, despite how well this Bournemouth is playing. And I think this might be a 2-2 draw also.
2-2 draw. Okay. I
Yeah,
mean, if it's this 2-2 draw, that's a good keeps the hope
it's,
alive for Bournemouth and puts Leeds still in a relegation zone. And
yeah,
that's dangerous. Yeah,
yeah.
Fulham Man City. Uh, I think William William will probably miss the game. It's been a very strong addition to that team, but I think he might miss the game.
Mm,
Mitrovic is still out. To me,
yeah,
I think they're going to struggle against City unless something
they
else happens.
will.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah. So, for my fellow fantasy folks out there, I was looking at the fixtures upcoming, right? Trying to figure out, who to pick. One thing that I noticed for Fulham is they've only conceded a goal or so in all of their past 5 or 6 games. So they're not letting in goals at the moment, but at the same time, it's not like they're winning or not losing. So I still expect a loss, but I don't think this will be a high scoring loss. I don't expect it to be a blowout of like 4-0. I
It's Man
think this
City.
might be a game that ends against like 2-0, 3-0. Yeah, it's against City, and City are in crazy form. I expect City to win, but we
Okay.
may not see as many goals as we might expect.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out soon.
Yeah.
Uh, Man United, Aston Villa. Aston Villa is on a streak of I think 10, 11. Not losing any game. Emery has completely transformed this team. This is the same team that Gerard. Again, I'm a fan of Gerard. I like him as a player. I liked him when he became a manager. I like him as a person. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but
Same.
people said that Gerard was sinking the team. He was about to sink them completely. Thank God that Emery came. As an Arsenal fan, I don't know if I agree with that. But the stats, the numbers are not wrong. He has completely transformed them. They are now in is a fifth or sixth position right now, in a very
Yeah.
good position to make Europe against the United team that is trying to get the number 3 spots back from Newcastle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think is going to happen here? This is going to be a good game that Man United cannot afford to lose.
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? In the past, I think one negative that I've had about Emery is his typical inability to really battle with the big boys, and I'm talking of the world class managers, right? The likes of Pep, the likes of Klopp, the likes of Ancelotti. I think he has a record of never having beaten Pep, despite all the times he played against him in Spain and also here in
Yeah.
England. And this is a game I would say might be a bit much for Villa, but Villa on form, and this is a different Emery. Um,
Hmm.
but I think I would give this still to Man U. I think this might be a very close game. I think we might see like a 3-2 type win for Man United. I think Eric Ten Hag is going to light them up after that 2-2 draw that they had against Spurs, where they gave a 2-goal lead away. Ten Hag is not the kind of manager that would let that kind of thing slide and not demand a result in the next game. And I think they might just come up against a Man U team that is quote unquote had their asses handed to them.
Yeah, I see where you're going, but if you ask me for my prediction, I think I'll go with a draw.
Mm,
And if there will be any win at all, I will lean towards Aston Villa. Why? Why? Because Man U started the game against Tottenham and they ran out of steam, right? And
mm-hmm,
again, key players are missing. Line. Martinez is out of the season, struggling with
mm-hmm,
injuries in the midfield as well for people to call. But Bruno Fernandes is back. I think they have
yeah.
Eriksen back. Rashford is back. Sancho is back. They have some quality. So they might be good going forward and all that. But
Mm-hmm,
if you get under pressure, which I think Villa will try to do, right? With the big
mm-hmm,
players like Watkins, Bailey, and all these people imposing themselves,
mm-hmm.
or Man United the first. Would they be able to handle it? I don't know. Uh, but that's where I see it. If you remember my prediction against the Man U Tottenham game, I said Tottenham defend well and give the ball to Kane and Son.
Mm-hmm.
The goals came from that. Those guys, right?
Yeah.
They just need to probably do the same thing, right? Defend very well against the quick players and the passes from Bruno Fernandes and all that. And take your chances when you have them because you have a backline that is not as aggressive as these guys that are now injured. So
Mm-hmm.
I think they might stand a chance with that confidence of that very superb run that they've had. And if the coach can then pop them up to say that's not a fluke, man. This form is really there, and you can do it again. I think they might stand a chance. I think a draw will not be good for Man United because they will just keep holding on to number 4. That means Newcastle will drift away from them. But that's the way I see it. I don't know if you
What
if you think otherwise.
What do you think in terms of who makes Europe, though, do you think Villa have enough to get into Europe? Man U seem to be holding on to that, fourth spot at the moment. They have
Yeah,
two
I
games
mean the
on hand
top.
against Spurs and 6 points ahead.
I think I am fine with the top four staying and finishing like this, right?
Hmm.
Arsenal, City, Newcastle, Man U. I think those four are good enough for Champions League next season. I think those four clubs have money and they have, well, let me not say they have money. Some spend, some don't spend. But I think they have owners that will be willing to spend the money going to Champions League. Newcastle will be able to bring out the checkbooks, even though they'll be very conservative, considering that they have a very largesse and generous, owner, but they've still
Hmm.
been very conservative in how they go into the market. But I think getting into Champions League is going to cost them to spend more. Manchester
Okay.
United will spend regardless, right?
Yeah.
Man City, the money is there, right? And they have
Yeah.
to. Some players are probably leaving, and they have to like bring. Maybe they will get Bellingham. We don't know where Bellingham will land next season. So, City obviously, if they don't win this Champions League, that might be a problem because Guardiola might just leave out of shame. But I think the Champions League is in their hands. Most likely, maybe a treble. We don't know. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So that's a good encouragement. Now, Arsenal on the other side, they've spent money, and I think they will be willing to spend more because they've accelerated the development, right? Getting back into Champions League football, even though it's a disappointment losing out on the league that they've held on since the beginning of the season. So I think those four teams are able to spend and get the quality required for a Champions League competition. To your
Hmm.
question about Aston Villa, it's Europa, and they have a coach that can.
Do you think they will make Europa?
Why
Because
not, bro? No, just look at it, right? They are number six. The only
mhm.
reason they are number six is goal difference with Tottenham. They have the same number of goals and number of games played. The only thing that Tottenham is edging them out on is goal difference. They have the same number of points. So don't be surprised if Tottenham continues this way. Villa might end up being fifth, while
Overtaking them.
Tottenham ends up being sixth. Don't be surprised.
I actually think Liverpool will snatch that fifth spot.
Okay, I don't remember the remaining fixtures. I don't know if there's a Liverpool Aston Villa game left.
So
But I know there is a Liverpool Spurs game, and I think that one will drop Spurs. I think Liverpool is going to win that game.
definitely.
I'm
So
going to come.
Liverpool have a game in hand.
Yeah. So Liverpool is going to. I think Liverpool is going to beat Spurs, and that will lift Liverpool to number five.
Five. Yeah.
And I think Aston Villa will, you know, will beat Tottenham to that spot.
Hmm.
So not as an Arsenal fan ditching on Tottenham, but this is just reality. You
Yeah.
will be surprised that the season might end up five being Liverpool, six being Villa, and seven being Tottenham.
Hmm.
That's what I think might happen. But
Hmm.
again, I don't know. I'm not God.
All right.
So, to your point, I don't think I answered your question completely. This is Una Emery. This is the
Mm-hmm.
Europa Cup specialist, right?
Yep.
I think he can get that business case to sign quality player. Remember, he hasn't signed any player. He inherited the
That's
players from
true.
Villa.
Yeah, he only
So
brought in, I think, Alex Moreno.
yeah, so he
Left
has
back.
a strong business case to say yes. Where is that checkbook, right? And he's going to get
Mm.
that checkbook. He won't buy. He doesn't like big names, right? But he's going to get good players that will listen and carry out his instructions. So I think he will be prepared for Europa, and he will be glad to go back to Europa. That is his
Mm.
specialty. I think Aston Villa will compete well.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So
So
Newcastle Southampton, man. Nobody wants to play Newcastle at this point.
is there is there any points looking at this game?
I mean, we've talked about Newcastle not being able to score goals, but they've been scoring 4 or 5 goals in the last three games,
Not anymore.
right?
That's a thing of the past.
What do you think?
It
Newcastle
doesn't even
Southampton.
matter who starts. Isaac starts, he scores two or three. Wilson starts, he scores two or three. So
Yeah.
I think that both of them have a record of like 8 goals in their past 5 games of past 6 games each.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. I expect another wipeout for Southampton in this game. Another game
Okay.
to confirm their match towards relegation. This will
Yeah.
be another 4-5 goal game for Newcastle.
Yeah. And to that point, I think that will solidify Newcastle
Top
finishing
four.
third.
Yeah.
All right. Liverpool Spurs. Let's talk more about this game. Liverpool Spurs. Liverpool, as I think they are no longer doing the pendulum again. I think they've been able to stabilize the situation. Do you
Yeah.
agree, or you think no, they're still gonna break people's
I
heart?
I agree. I agree. One, they seem to have found their way back, and they've gotten most of their players back from injury. The past couple of games, Klopp has started with with the same 11 for the most part. Up front, they're settled in having Salah, Gakpo, and Jota now. But not only do they have those players ready, fit to go, and scoring and delivering assists, they now also have the full complement of their of the subs for that front line available. Firmino is available, Luis Diaz is available, Firmino, Diaz, and Nunes are all available as well to come in for any of those three. So also he's brought in Curtis Jones into midfield, which seems to have given them better control of midfield alongside Henderson and Fabinho. So I expect it to continue against Spurs. The kind of joy I think Spurs get on the counter against teams where they're able to snatch goals, I don't think they will be able to find that against this Liverpool team, especially at Anfield. Liverpool, like we said a couple of weeks ago when they played Arsenal, this Liverpool team, as bad as they are this season, quote unquote bad, they have not been losing at home. They've only lost once at home all season.
Yeah,
So I don't see that changing against the Spurs team that is shaky at the moment under the leadership of Ryan Mason.
that's right. That's right. I agree with you. On the other way, how do you analyze Spurs with what's going on? What do you say?
So I think I talked about it right when we looked at the Man U Spurs game ahead of game week 33, and I said we've seen Ryan Mason. Ryan Mason is practical, and I think Ryan Mason will bring some stability to the team. So if we remember, not too long ago, this Spurs team was third in the league, and they were top four for a very long stretch of the season under Antonio Conte. So I don't think this Spurs team is a bad team. I think we've heard the crew at USA Network also talk about it, that it's not going to take a lot to get Spurs competing again at the top end. And I think Ryan Mason will maybe do enough to stabilize them and keep them consistent enough to be around those European spots, maybe European Conference League by the end of the season. That said, they will lose this game against Liverpool, no question. But how they perform through the end of the season, I think they might be able to find a way to stabilize themselves towards the end of the season. There's just only 4 or 5 games left to go.
Do you think Spurs has been playing as a fighter, and not as a fighter to win anything, but as a fighter to like a top four was there for us? How are we gonna lose it? We can't explain it. So we're gonna fight all the way and get back into top four and finish top four. Do you see that in them, or you think like these boys are they don't care? They're discouraged by the words of the former coaches. They just want to finish the season because of their own personal, pride, and there's nothing else pushing them, and they're just doing their best effort. What do you see? What do you see in
Let,
sports players?
let me take this opportunity to say, Harry Kane, if you're listening, please come to Arsenal. I know the Spurs fans might be upset, but you've broken all the Spurs records there is to break. There is nothing left for you to achieve. You're not going to win the league with this Spurs team. Please come and help us get the league next season. You can
I,
finish, you can finish your career with a Premier League trophy. Help us
I,
beat City and take this team out.
I am begging you. I'm glad you're not. I'm not going to disclose your location, but I am confident that you are not in London at this point, and I know that you are not in any part of the UK. If you are, I would just say take cover, but I know you're not. So, um, no attacks. I don't want the sports fans to come for us. It's just our wish. We know it might not happen, but just in case you sleep overnight, bro, and hurricane, and you talk to your wife and family, and you guys are open to it, we'll gladly take you. You were once there, but you can come back. It's going to be a good return. I know Man United is calling, but you can compare the teams, right? You can come to where you're gonna
Yeah.
be and score.
I,
So
I mean, yeah, Spurs. I think it seems like for the past 10 years or so, their motivation has just been, how do we finish above Arsenal? And that has been it for them. I don't think they've considered the thought of actually winning trophies. And I think they've been content and satisfied with the fact that, oh, we're doing better than Arsenal. We're finishing above
Local
Arsenal. I
rival.
think that started changing over the last 6 years. And it's like, oh, we're the top club in North London now. And I don't see that changing. They got to the Champions League final a couple years ago, and I think that is their peak. I think they've picked, and it's going to take them some time to try and find their way again in terms of being able to win something.
Hmm.
Which is why I'm begging Harry Kane to come over, because you're not that this Spurs team doesn't look like they are able to win anything. Like Conte said, they seem to have just found a comfort level. Like, we're good enough to be up there, but is there any challenge to do more?
Hmm.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I agree with you. I watch the games. I look at the attitude and the body language, and I don't see that. So yeah, okay, cool. I think we're giving this one to Liverpool unless something happens.
Yeah,
Can we look at the double header?
rest
I
of the
think there are
games.
games for following that as well.
Yep. So a couple of games still in during the week. There are games all through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. For
Yeah,
me personally, that's
let's.
an awesome thing. There's something to look forward to every day.
Yeah,
Bright spark.
I know. This is great, man. The month of May, you begin to start enjoying your summer. This is awesome, right? Every
Yeah.
day you have something to watch. Leicester Everton. Well, I think we kind of condemned both teams. But what do you think is going to take the day? Leicester Everton.
I think this might be a draw. Um, both teams are fighting hard for relegation, and I think they might just end up sharing the points.
Okay.
Both teams have terrible defenses. Both teams are capable of scoring. Leicester more so than Everton, with the likes of Vardy, Iheanacho, um, you know, Madison. They have quality up front. Everton have been struggling to find goals. They have Calvert Lewin back. But other than that, no one else is really chipping in with goals from Everton. They haven't been scoring, which is why I said the Sean Dyche experiment, or project isn't quite working out. They're struggling at defense, but not only that, they are not able to score. Dwight McNeil scores like once every 5 games. Iwobi scores like once every 7 games, even though he's playing well and finding assists, but they don't have a goal scorer. So if Calvert Lewin doesn't come up with anything, there's nothing. Leicester, on the other hand, has some firepower. 1-1 draw, 2-1 to Leicester.
Okay.
We'll see.
What would you say was the problem of Leicester? Would you say they should have fired Brenda Rogers earlier? Would you say they should have kept him? Do you think Dean Smith is going to make a difference with few games left to the season? Or would you say, oh, Leicester shouldn't have made those transfer decisions at the beginning of the season, letting people like Fofana and all those people affecting the entire team to even get time to settle in? Then it was late for them to then bring in replacement. I mean, a lot of problems that happened at Leicester. What do you have
Yeah.
to say to all that?
Yeah, just we talked about it at the beginning of the season, but so many things going wrong for Leicester at the start of that season. Fofana was a huge miss. As we know, Fofana is a top 4 quality defender. And to lose that kind of quality in a team that, doesn't maybe necessarily have a lot of quality in the defense otherwise is a big miss for them. But not only that, they also lost Michael, who was instrumental to their title winning season in 2016, right? To lose those two in your defense that's a huge miss to start your season with. And then not only that, not only did they lose them, I think with the way Fofana departed, it caused some turmoil within the squad. So you have a situation where not only are you missing quality players, but the departure of those players is also causing, other players to have their heads turned and not focused and in the right place. There was a lot of debate about Tielemans to also maybe joining Arsenal, which ended up not happening. So it's like you have a lot of the squad, are they leaving? Are they staying? Others are like, what's happening to us? Are we going to get some quality in? They ended up not really bringing in any quality. Then they brought in Ward Fast very, very late in the window, and he took some time to settle down. Danny Ward took place in goal, but it took some time for him to find his feet as well. And it was just a mess. Brendan Rodgers wasn't happy with the leadership. So all that coupled together, plus Jamie Vardy is now getting old, so he wasn't having the kind of games where he just out of nowhere pops up with a goal and saves the day for Leicester anymore. They were trying to find a way to rejuvenate their attack. So just so many things went wrong for Leicester this season.
I agree. I agree. And well, I don't know. It might be too late because with the way we're looking at the table, Leicester might be gone. But if they kind of survive one way or the other, I hope they learn from that.
Yeah,
Oh, let's talk about the Arsenal Chelsea game, London game.
yeah.
What should we expect?
So
Is there anything to what? I don't
for
know.
the
As an Arsenal
for
fan,
the
what do you?
people wondering why it's just two of us today, I think the Chelsea fans have given up on their season and they're no longer interested in participating. I hope this is a game that Arsenal are able to find their form back. I think at this point we're almost ruling Saliba out for the season. We know he's not going to feature in this game, so that is confirmed. Saliba is still out, and we're likely to continue with the same team. I, I I sincerely hope this is not a game where Lampard finds his first win.
Hmm.
And considering what they've been doing this season, I think this is another game where Chelsea lose and Arsenal hopefully keep as it were, the fight alive.
I hope so too, but I also fear that this might be Lampard's first game to win.
Hmm. Hmm.
I, I don't know where that fear is coming from, but he could. But I hope Arsenal takes this serious and play way better than the last performances we've seen. The
Yeah.
last three performances have not been great. They've been very, very disappointing. And it comes down to the obvious thing that most Arsenal fans know, which
Hmm.
is we have one solid first team. And
Mm-hmm.
when you take one or two players out, it's just a drop in quality, right? Because
Hmm.
we've played as a pack. Saliba came out and we've been dealing with bad performances in the defense, right? Coordination, things like
Yeah.
that. Xhaka was sick. Vera came in, could not just fit into the shoes, right?
Yeah.
So it's been challenging. Saka himself has not been great lately. That's where some of our attack comes from here and Martinelli. And when the two of them are not really delivering, that's a challenge for us. So things have not been going well. Partey has been slow lately. So all these things, hopefully, they can turn it around against Chelsea and give the fans a good game to watch.
I think I'll challenge something you said. I think the struggle hasn't really been in the attack. We haven't failed to score in all of these games, right? Since Saliba has been out. There was the 2-2 draw at Liverpool. We pretty much coasted the first 30 minutes of that game, right? We pretty much wiped Liverpool with the floor, so to speak, in those first 20-30 minutes. It was 2-0 up. So we didn't have any trouble scoring. It was in keeping the goals out. Again, against West Ham, same thing. You know, we didn't have any trouble scoring. 2 goals in. Against Southampton, looked down and out, found the goals. We equalized, or it was 2-0. We found a goal. They scored another one. We found a way to score 2 more goals. And even against City, we scored as well. So I don't think it's that we have a trouble scoring. I think it's in that defense. And we talked about the knock-on effects that Saliba being out has on the defense. Like I said, Thomas Partey, as wonderful as he is not your typical defensive midfielder in that he is not the one who reads danger and cleans up and protects the back four. That is not where Thomas Partey shines, which is why a lot of fans called him out as having a poor game against City. It's just not his forte in, oh, so how do I pick up KDB's wrongs and how do I shield the back four from, KDB? How do I protect the back four from, the knockdowns that Haaland inevitably was going to get? When Haaland holds up the ball, am I able to read where he's about to play the ball into or who's going to support him from the city side? That Partey struggled with that. Chaka maybe would have done better if we had pulled Chaka deeper to play beside him, but we tried playing Chaka up alongside Odegaard, and I think that also caused us to struggle. So I would like to see Arteta adjust his tactics a bit in this game. either in having Zinchenko play much closer to Party, or having Chaka also dropping alongside those alongside Zinchenko and Partey. I think it would be naive for us to try and occupy, especially if we go ahead and we're trying to close out the game and keep control. I think it would be silly of us to rely on Partey being the one to protect the back four again. So I expect goals. We will score. We're at the Emirates. Can we get a win? Maybe. I don't think Chelsea will win, but are we good enough to get 3 points? That's where the question is going to be.
Yes, I agree with you, and I didn't mean to say the problem was with the goal. I agree with your analysis. I think what I should have said is a drop in intensity. So we have not been consistent in all these games you've described,
Yeah.
and we start very well and we drop so low that we don't maintain that level of intensity, and that is sad to watch, right? Yes,
Mhm.
we started well, we scored goals, but what happened afterwards? Defense is obviously a concern. And when you concede, you have to score to win again. So that's the problem. Once the intensity has dropped, the pressure has dropped, we are not attacking more as we should. We can't find more goals. And that's a problem right there, right? That coordination happened the moment Saliba dropped. Odin is not at that level, right? He can't do it. That's his level. So we have that problem trying to fill his own gap with something else.
Yeah.
So I think that's a problem that we obviously need to fix. Chelsea, they will have to do very well, perform very well to pose a threat. But let's
Yeah.
move on to Liverpool Fulham game.
Yeah, I think what gives me some confidence in that game is Chelsea's not scoring. So hopefully that's enough. But yeah, let's
That's
move
why we
on to
said we
Liverpool.
don't know whether this will be their first win. We don't know whether this is going to be a game that they will say, "Oh, no, it's us now. We don't care what has happened to us in the past. This is rivalry
We
and
come
this is
up.
victory," right?
Yeah.
So we'll see. Liverpool Fulham, the very first time they met in this season, it ended. Was it 2-2 or 3-3? I'm mistaken right now, but it ended a draw.
I think it was 2-1.
No, it was a draw.
It was a
That
draw?
was
Oh,
that
okay.
was the wasn't that the season opener?
Uh, Forget about that. Let's see. I don't
Liverpool
remember.
Fulham.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a draw.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just trying to get the
Okay.
scoreline. Yeah, but it was definitely a draw. Uh,
Uh, Looks like we lost Spiedon from the recording. Yes, that first game did end in a 2-2 draw. Goals from Darwin Nunes and Salah, and they had Mitrovic available in that game who scored 2 goals. Yes, now I recall that fixture. So how are Liverpool and Fulham going to perform in this game? Like we said, I think Liverpool are resurgent. They have a solid team available now to, keep up their push. I think the push for Champions League football is maybe coming a bit too late from when they found their form, but I think they will do enough to just about secure the fifth spot and actually make it into Europa, which is a shame for Liverpool, considering the heights that they've been at the past 4 or 5 seasons, going toe to toe with Man City and pushing them all the way. When I looked at it, actually, Liverpool lost the league twice, not once, but twice to Manchester City by 1 point. I mean, I can't imagine how painful that must be to lose the league. Especially for a Liverpool team that hadn't won the Premier League, they finally managed to win once, but to have the opportunity to have won it 3 or 4 times and to have only come away with one EPL because of the competition that they have in Manchester City. Which does bring us to the Manchester City versus West Ham game. Again, another team, and this is part of the reason why I don't see Arsenal being able to recover from this, you know, control that they have, where they have the Premiership in their grasp. West Ham, as we know earlier today, they lost to Crystal Palace, and if they're not able to win against a team of that quality, again, West Ham is going to the Etihad. I don't see the likelihood of them being able to recover and win. I think this is another game where we see Man City again walk away with 3 points. And with all that considered, in this double game week, I think this is one of the games that City has in hand against Arsenal, and this might be the game where they actually recover and are able to actually take the lead ahead of Arsenal at the end of this game week 34. Pierdon, do we have you back?
Yes, I am back. Can you hear me?
Yes, coming through loud and clear.
Yeah, my video is just not sure what's going on.
No worries. I had just talked about the Man City West Ham game. This is a game that Man City have in hand against Arsenal, one of the two games. And I was saying I don't see the likelihood of West Ham getting anything from this game at the Etihad. And this is another. This is probably the game where Man City take the lead ahead of Arsenal on the league table.
Yes, I completely agree with you. Why I'm trying to get back on video. Sorry to
Yeah,
our viewers. I had a quick power issue.
no worries. And so last game that we have, for the week, the game week, is the
Can you see me now?
Brighton. Yes, coming
Okay,
through. I hear you loud and clear, and I
thank
see
you.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, and I think this is. I mean, obviously, everybody knows that City has two games in hand, and I hope they feel the pressure. I don't think they will feel the pressure. I think they have a very deep squad. I think they've showed that tenacity, they've showed that resiliency, they've showed the minds of being champions. That is the gap.
Mhm.
Obviously, a very big gap between Arsenal and City when they played. Even though Arsenal was disappointing, I don't even think we fought. I think if we had fought, we probably would have come out with a better result. I don't think we
Yeah.
fought at all in that game. So, but regardless, there's a big gap between the two teams in terms of quality, in terms of the depth of the squad. City has Champions League, they have FA Cup, they have other games coming up. They have two games. We would hope, as not Arsenal fans, that would affect them to maybe slip and drop some point. But also, I think is what makes the champions champions. Having to deal
Yes.
with this many games and show that resiliency and tenacity might just be it. So it's in their hands right now, unless they want to give it
Give
back
it
to
back.
us. So it's
Yeah.
up to them. But Man City, West Ham, relegation team West Ham going to Etihad, they're going to struggle. But who knows? It's football. Anything can happen.
Brighton, Manchester United.
Oh boy!
Mm,
Oh boy!
mm,
Like I
mhm.
said, right? Newcastle has a better games to finish compared
Yep.
to Man United. Even though I know we still have Brighton, I believe, right? Arsenal, I think we still have Brighton.
Do we?
Um,
Not sure.
yeah, because the first leg we went to Brighton, now that's where we won 4-2.
Mm,
That was actually on a New Year's Day, I believe.
hmm.
Um, so Brighton, Man United, I would give it to Man United. I would give it to Brighton. But
Hmm. Wow.
hey, it's Brighton. It's a young
Quick
squad.
update. They're up 6-0 against Wolves
Yeah,
at the moment, by the way.
yeah. So
Ridiculous.
so Man United will have to win some serious games here to finish number three. But even if they don't, I think they will still finish number four.
Yeah,
But this is one of that games that they have to win. And to beat Brighton at home will be tough.
I agree. I agree.
So
Yeah.
I would say a 3-1 win to Brighton.
Oof. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I
What do
think
you think?
I was saying earlier, right? Brighton seem to have, I don't know what it is, but an endless pool of talents just waiting. I mean, so many players that I had never heard of this season, maybe even as recently as 2 weeks ago. I'd never heard of Julian Ciso until about 2 weeks ago, and he's in the team, he's scoring. He has 2 assists today. Every game he's played, he's either gotten a goal or an assist.
Yeah.
Uh, they rested Mitoma, who we hadn't even really heard of Mitoma until they lost Trossard in January. Mitoma
Yeah.
comes into the team. He's apparently the king of dribble, apparently went to the University of Dribbling, taking players on, top quality defenders, finding goals, finding assists to the point where a lot of people have him in their fantasy team. They sat him out today. He was on the bench, and guess who came in? Have you ever heard of Dennis Undav? I hadn't until today. But guess
No.
what? He scored 2 goals against Wolves. He
Yeah.
scored 2 goals against Wolves. So they will find the quality again against Man U. I really feel for my Man U friends out there, but this
Yeah.
might be a really tough one going to the MX Stadium.
What's your prediction?
I think this is going to be another. This might be a loss for Man U or a tight draw. Maybe a 2-1 win to Brighton.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, Man U wants number 3. They have to win this kind of game. Yeah, that's it. They just have to. Now, thinking about that, where would that take Brighton winning these games? I don't think they will still make Europe. What do you think? It's a hard one.
It's
They have two
tight.
games in hand.
Yeah, it's tight. I don't know if they'll do enough to get into the European places. I think they have it because their main competition is Liverpool. They
Actually,
might be
Aston
able
Villa.
to.
I think Liverpool is going to leave these people behind. I think
Yeah,
Aston Villa.
I think so too. So here's the thing, right? Only the fifth spot is open for the UEFA Cup, but because Man U and City are likely to be in the Champions League, the sixth spot might open up, and that's where the question is: of will Brighton take it? Will Villa take it? Will Spurs take it? I don't know. Let's see. I think this Brighton team is good enough to play in Europe.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
they have two games in hand. They win those games, they would actually be ahead of Aston Villa.
yeah, yep. And that's why I think it's maybe too much for Villa. I think Brighton might take that
I
sixth
see your
spot.
point now. I see your point now. Well,
Yeah.
good analysis. Good time talking to you. Anytime, any day about soccer, football.
Yep.
Depending on where you are in this part of the world. It's a great show today. Again, thank you for all our viewers. Please continue to subscribe, like, click, and support us. We will be back for game week 35,
35.
right? Soon.
Yep.
And by that time, we're probably going to be drawing very close to the end of season. And it should become clearer what the top four, what the bottom four will look like. And maybe, presumably, determine who the winner of this EPL will be. I
Yeah.
would not love it to be an hat trick for City, but it's looking like that.
Yeah.
But it's what it is. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the rest of the game. And we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye.